In a world filled with billions of people communicating with each other, there was a need for chat applications to make this world a connected place. Then came a lot of different chat applications: WhatsApp, Discord, Telegram. But how do these apps work? How are they able to support billions of users? Generally, whenever you have to fetch anything from the server, you have to establish a TCP connection. Now, a TCP connection, like we talked about, is a handshake. It requires a round trip time. So suppose for every chat message that you're sending to anyone, you have to establish this TCP connection with the server. So you have to make a call, you establish this TCP connection. So this, first of all, makes the chat very, very slow. This is the first limitation of why you cannot use a simple HTTP request. The second thing which comes is that in this, you are actually sending a request to the server to get a response. But in a chat message, suppose you have to receive some message from a particular friend, you are not sending it. So how will you receive it if you have not requested anything? So there can be multiple measures for that. One could be that you keep polling the server and see that if there is a message for you and then take it. This is called HTTP long polling. And the other way is that you would want the server to push the message to you whenever it comes. Less expensive would be the push based approach because you don't have to keep on polling for a very long time. Now we have established two things which we need to make with this chat application. We basically want a connection which does not break so that we don't have to establish it again and again. And the second thing we want is that we want server to push the message to us and we don't want to request it. Now considering these two things, what will you use for this? We will use something like a WebSocket. WebSocket is also a protocol like HTTP protocol. It helps to create a persistent bidirectional communication between you and the server. What it means that the connection is persistent and the data that is being sent, you can send the data to server can send back the data to you. WebSocket on layer 4 uses TCP only to create a long standing connection with the server. TCP connection which is maintained, this handshake is done just once and then there can be bidirectional communication. You can send chat messages, receive messages from the server. Now let's see how the flow of a chat will look like. So suppose you are this client, you create a WebSocket connection with the server whenever you go online, then you send the message. The server will have to then store your message into some kind of database. Suppose that if the other client's internet is not on, then it won't be able to receive the message. So the server should be able to send this message after the client comes online. So it stores the message in the database and when it checks that the client is online, it pushes the message to the client. Now there can be two scenarios in this, that the client is online and the other is the client is offline. When the client is online, then this client also has maintained a full duplex connection, WebSocket connection with the server. So it is very easy to get the message. But if the client is offline, then you would have to send a push notification which you receive from WhatsApp whenever you are offline and then you receive a message from your friend. For this, what will the server do? The server will send the message to a notification service and on the best effort basis, it will send the notification to the client whenever it is possible. Now, if you go on websites, a lot of websites will say that WhatsApp uses XMPP or a modified version of XMPP. Now, what is XMPP? So XMPP is also a protocol which is called Extensible Messaging and Presence Protocol. It was developed like much earlier as compared to WebSockets. It is used to send the messages in the form of XML based content and only XML based content can be the data can be sent, whereas WebSocket allow you to send data in many other forms. You can send it in binary forms and various other data types are supported. Now XMPP also functions kind of the similar way like a WebSocket works. So it also works the same way. It creates a persistent TCP connection, but it provides some more features as compared to WebSocket like security, instant messaging, presence. The one very great feature about XMPP is that, so for example, you have email addresses. Similarly, you can have XMPP addresses. These define you uniquely. Your email IDs might be stored by the company you create the account with, but your XMPP addresses, these are not stored with any companies. So XMPP in that sense is decentralized. So you can now set up your own XMPP server because it is open source, and then send and receive messages to another XMPP address location. So this is one great thing about XMPP. And apart from that, it offers a lot more features like security, instant messaging, and presence, which are very much required for chat application. It also provides reliable delivery, it is more secure, and it also provides receipt acknowledgement. Though it is slower than WebSockets, but still a lot of people prefer using XMPP over WebSockets because of the benefits that I talked about. WebSockets are more generally used for the real-time communication. So for example, if there is a live chat going on in any video, then you would use a WebSocket. Even chat applications you can build with WebSocket. A lot of chat applications are there which are built with the help of WebSockets instead of using XMPP as the underlying protocol. Now, one question which might come to your point is that if the connection is always maintained with the server, then it means that the server is limited by the number of connections. So only a limited number of people can join. But WhatsApp has like half a planet's scale, like more billions of people use it. So how many servers would they actually want to support persistent connections so that they can send messages? So how to actually be able to support more number of connections with the server, that we'll talk about in some other video. Now, if you have to understand in detail about how push notifications work, like when you're offline, you can watch this video which I've created. This talks about push notifications.